We're not here. Okay, we'll do this one. Live from New York. It's Ask an Engineer.
I was in the Matrix. Now I'm out of it. Cool. All right, hey everybody, it's me, Ladyada, with me, Mr. Ladyada on camera control, and moves like they do. And you want to keep hacking on it? We got a show for you tonight.
Yeah.
Hacking, ASCII, graphics.
Yeah, everything's kind of melting down right here
Hey.
in front of on my screen. Yeah, I gotta figure out something.
Yeah.
I'll figure out something.
Okay, cool.
All right. So let's dive right in.
Yeah, we got a nice show.
Yeah, on tonight's show, as I wrestle with a jittery mouse that's randomly clicking things on its own.
It's like not
I shouldn't have installed that LLM from that guy on the street.
Yeah.
On tonight's show, the code is DAX, DACS, 10% off the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. Use it or lose it. Plus, there's all the free stuff. All the shows that we do throughout the week. We have a couple highlights and more. Liz just so and tell. Thank you, Liz. We have some Desk of Ladyada and some great search to talk about, which goes into a mailbag. We got a couple things that came in. Got a JP's product pick of the week highlight. We have a rapid render. That's a new segment that we're doing about all the ways to make it easier for you to make 3D objects and print them out. We've got some open source hardware, news, and more, including everything at the Adafruit Learning System this week. We got 3D printing. We've got some new products.
Lots of nudes.
But I can't.
Wow.
I can't click.
Well, your mouse is just jumping everywhere.
I can't click. As I get close to it, it goes away. Okay.
Okay.
We got some new products. Yay. And then we've got some top secret.
Yay.
And we answer your questions. We do that on Discord, adafruit.it/Discord. Plus, we have all the questions you've stored up and more in advance. That is what we're doing this week on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer.
Yay.
This is the Firefly footage. They're landing. This is the second private commercial moon lander that's going to happen on March 1st. You can watch it live.
Who funded this?
I don't know. It's
an oligarch.
I don't know. I don't think so, because if it was an oligarch, they'd be talking about it all the time.
Yeah.
So this is footage that it got, and this will be the best footage since Apollo. So they posted up this like really nice this video. What are we gonna do when folks keep saying we never landed on the moon and the Earth is flat? When it's like you'll be able to like watch live stuff like this. I wonder what they're gonna do.
It's AI generated.
They'll say it's AI generated. Okay, that's cool.
Perfect timing.
I was just wondering what they're gonna do.
Okay.
I would just find there's so many other cool conspiracies to think about. So a little reminder, same day delivery in New York City. Just check out before 11 a.m. and you'll be able to get free stuff. And of course, code stacks. I put it in the chat. Okay, let's go right to the action here. And as Ladyada does this, I'm gonna eventually go try to find another input device because it doesn't seem possible to use this computer.
Oh, this is kind of fun. Yeah, your mouse is just jumping everywhere.
Well, it just won't go to where it's supposed to go. Okay, so we do Desk of Ladyada every single Sunday. And then you showed off some neat stuff. What did you do on Desk of Ladyada this week?
Okay, this week I worked on the TLV 320 DAC 3100, which I got working. There was like 2 bugs that I had in the hardware, and that combined to make it challenging to figure out like what was wrong with the DAC, but I figured it out. So that part's done. And then we talked about text mode for HXTX, which Jepler worked on, and then he's still battling that out. And then I talked a little bit about multimeters. We did that for
for the great search.
Great search. I showed my favorite pocket multimeter you can get from DigiKey.
Yeah, which leads us into the mailbag this week.
Oh.
We have a couple mailbags, but I put them close to the segment. So this one, this is from Blue Sky. This is from No E-Voting. Each time I needed a multimeter and I don't find mine, I go acquire a cheap one at store. The result is I have very similar cheap ones. What breaks the most are the probe cables. This is what I need too great search for, and
Yes.
they're putting it in front of the screen as we're talking about it. So they're like, this is a good segment. So
Yes.
you'll never know what you find. And then we also got a nice comment. Sparkle Motion is one of our new boards. Here it is. And the feedback is in. By far the best
Ooh.
off the shelf WLED controller out there. I didn't take it out of context. By far the best off the shelf WLED controller out there. Super pleased with mine, running like a champ with both internal FX and with ArtNet from Resume.
Though we'll have more people are like, why is it in stock? We're having a little bit of yield issues. I know what it is. I think it's a little bit of flux getting into the I2S microphone during the through hole soldering step. I'm going to do a little bit of reorganization because I really don't want to have to rework all these boards. I want them to work, quite well. Might be a couple weeks, but believe me, it's worth it so that we can make sure. We do a first run of like 120 and we learn a lot. And I learned that design as is needs some work. That's okay.
Okay. And then what's next, you asked? Well, we do JP's product pick of the week every Tuesday. I'm going to play the highlight now. Well,
TFT Featherwing 2.4-inch 320 by 240 touchscreen V2. An edge mount reset button. We have an SD card slot on there, and we also have a nice on-off switch. There's also a Stemma QT connector. You can plug in some nice little add-ons. Nice screen on there. Look, there's little me. That's young me with an Apple IIe computer. There's Cappuccino. I'm using the touchscreen in this case to light up the words on top of their little drop shadows there. Since we have a Stemma QT port on there, I can use a little rotary encoder to increment and decrement some numbers on there. I can click to turn that on and off. And I'm just using the touchscreen to bring up some little gradients, some little color bar gradients on there as if we're calibrating a TV. TFT Featherwing 2.4-inch 320 by 240 touchscreen V2.
and don't forget JP's workshop is tomorrow. Then we do 3D Hangouts. We have a new segment. That's right. Rapid Render. What's Rapid Render? Well, there's all these tools, and there's too many to figure out which might work to help you do something in 3D. So whether it's scanning something with your phone or device, or all these like prompt to 3D models,
Yeah.
or like, hey, we have to do this stuff, but you don't. So how about we show you the ones that we're playing around with? Generally speaking, a lot of them will get you going, but you still have to do some work. So check out what Noah and Pedro showed and shared this week. You can also watch it on Wednesdays during the day.
This week on Rapid Render, we're taking a look at another tool for generating some CAD. This week we're going to be taking a look at Hun Yun 3D. This one is pretty similar to the Trellis one, so much so that I can't really tell what the difference is. The UI looks pretty much the same. I've been checking out a bunch of the ones that are on this site, and the only difference really is like how they're actually generating the 3D, all with varying degrees of success. One thing that I've noticed is that you are sharing, I think, like the server credit between all these sites. So some difficulty getting this one to obtain a server for it to generate. But what we're trying here is a Blinka model, just like a long strand. And the reason was so I could make like the chainable, like the flexible models that everybody always makes. Yeah, I did have to do some editing inside of the Illustrator file to actually get this Blinka to come out the way it did. I think the one that I used was the Pi Portal one, which had like her center portion chopped off. So I had to go in there and redraw it inside of Illustrator. But I got the like her little belly and all that going. But inside of Huion, super simple again. It's a drag and drop interface. And this is obviously not the model that I used for it, but just wanted to see what it would do. As for the options, just like the resolution, the guidance scale, I didn't edit any of that. Scared to go ahead and regenerate it in fears that it will not be able to obtain a server to actually render this out. But here's the job that it was able to do. This would be okay for like a little plaque or something. There it is. Yeah, so again, brought in a blender using the sculpting tools. What I was trying to do was get Bamboo to have the faces separated so I can easily take the paint bucket tool and paint all the options in there easily, but that did not work out. So I had to go in there with the paintbrush inside of the paint bucket tools, go in there and just do that all by hand. So something again that, you know, you hear AI can do all this, but no, it can't. You got to go in there with your knowledge of how the design is actually supposed to go in and hand paint painstakingly. The funny part is when we were planning this out, you're like, oh, there's already a 3D model for it. I'm like, yeah, that's the one I made in Maya. So yeah, again, this is something I've already done, have everything separated for the belly and all that. But then, of course, I wouldn't be, you know, using the tools to try to get the segment going. So it turned out pretty good. I'm using a 0.4 millimeter nozzle for this. It took about, I think, like 7 hours to print this little blanket out. So much supports. And again, I did this straight blanket because I want to go in there and generate a chained model that will be flexible so that I can physically, you know, curl her up so it doesn't look like a little piece of poop. This model you can like turn it into a pen or something. So nice little
like a pen. All right. And that is this week's AI tool, Fong Young 3D Rapid Render.
All right, and Deep Dive is with Scott on Fridays. Let's do some open source hardware news and more. Speaking of, we have our Adafruit learning system. We got a bunch of guides. Ladyada, what's on the big board this week?
Okay, this week we got this cool round compass display with a magnetometer and CircuitPython. So we have these new round displays, and the first thing you're like, make a compass.
Yeah.
You also got the cases for the Sparkle Motion. That was this week's 3D Hangouts project. JP published a project which is really cool. It takes two QT Py boards and connects them with a STEM and QT cable, and then it creates two MIDI host devices. So if you have two synthesizer devices that are expecting like to connect to a computer to like, you know, for USB host, you can connect them to each other and they can control each other. So that's
nice.
kind of a neat hack. And I think that's it for this week.
Okay. And then over on Playgrounds, this is Piece of Pie with Neo Trinky. And we've got the supervisor runtime display. We've got a media hub with Bluetooth, Zephyr Quest, Pogo adapter for Clue, another Zephyr Quest, weather displays. We got a bunch of stuff going on. Check it out. You can post your own guides and more over there. Over on Adafruit Playgrounds, you can click the link to it on Learn, or you could just go to Adafruit-Playgrounds. Okay, let's do some 3D printing. We're going to show a couple of videos. This one's really nice because it's the Sparkle Motion stuff that people were mentioning that they were having a great time using Sparkle Motion. Then we got a fun speed up for the week. So take it away now.
You can build amazing LED projects with Adafruit's Sparkle Motion. These dev boards are Adafruit's attempt to make the best LED driving board that's fully featured and easy to use. Designed for WLED projects, you can drive dozens of NeoPix LEDs and run amazing preset animations wirelessly with a computer or mobile device. Sparkle Motion comes in two sizes, a full size and a mini version, so you can use the right board to fit your LED project. They both feature the ESP32 mini Wi-Fi chip from Espressive, USB-C, an I2S mic, an onboard button, and Stemma QT. The full-size board features USB-C PD, an IR receiver, and screw block terminals for easy plug-and-play. The mini board is about half the size, but offers plenty of features perfect for wearables or embedding into small projects. Sparkle Motion Mini works great with WLED, allowing you to change the colors of your NeoPixels using a mobile device. With the built-in I2S amp, you can make audio-reactive LED animations for making some awesome visuals. WLED has dozens of audio-reactive effects that can be each customized using the software interface. You can use the onboard button to trigger presets for quickly turning off your LEDs or running a playlist. The full-size board is packed with goodies. It also features an I2S mic for audio-reactive effects. With an onboard IR receiver, you can use an IR remote to control WLED for switching between colors, effects, and even adjusting LED brightness. You can power high voltage LEDs like these fancy 12-volt cafe bulbs. The built-in DC jack makes it easy to plug in bigger power supplies. We think these cafe bulbs are great for decorating those outdoor patios. The USB-C PD slide switch allows for switching between 5, 12, and 20 volts. Perfect for use with those wall adapters with USB-C power delivery. Screw block terminals make it easy to connect wires and cables with 3 different NeoPixel outputs and multiple power terminals. You can use a 3-pin NeoPixel strip with matching cable to make an LED project without having to solder any wires. To keep your Sparkle Motion boards protected, we have a snap fit enclosure that you can 3D print yourself or pick them up in the Adafruit shop. They feature access to various ports and have mounting tabs so you can secure them to just about any surface. Both Sparkle Motion boards feature documentation with instructions on installing WLED and even code examples for CircuitPython and Arduino. We hope this inspires you to check out Adafruit's Sparkle Motion for your next LED art project.
That's 3D printing for the week. Before we go off onto new products, this week's show we're going to try to end a little bit earlier because we had a lot of stuff going on here and an unexpected. There's no sunspots or anything going on Earth right now. Is there any?
I haven't checked.
I know.
This.
I feel like I don't want to know, but apparently, once in a while there's like.
Oh yeah.
A very big bit of space radiation and
Yeah.
all sorts goes over because that was odd.
Yeah.
Anyways, don't forget the code is DAX. 10% off in the Adafruit store.
Okay.
Let's go to new products idea.
Yay! New.
First up.
Okay, we've got 2 enclosures. Me and Pedro have been walking out making cases for many of our most popular boards. This is for the Feather DVI with the RP2040. It has the 2 buttons for reset and boot. There is the USB-C connector so you can power it, and the HDMI DVI output port so you can connect it to whatever you want to create video on. And then if you want to use it without the top, you can get access to the headers. But if you want it nicely enclosed for your DVI output projects, this case is inexpensive, easy to use.
It's a good idea.
It's 3D printed and it's just like very handy. We're just kind of making a bunch of cases for feathers, and it's we're seeing how popular they are.
Let's use them. All right. Speaking of, here's another case. This one's going to be really useful. It's a case for the Pico 2W, Pico 2, Pico W, whatever, all the Pico from Raspberry Pi with RP2040 or RP2350. They're the same size, that they have the same button location, the same micro SD, the same mounting holes. So this case will work with either of them. It has a bunch of slots so you can pull wires out the top if you want. There's the boot button, like little nubs. You can put it into bootloader mode very easily. There's like mounting straps if desired. Again, works with all the different Picos. If you want to have add-ons, just leave the top off and you can like stack things on top. Otherwise, it's a nice little compact case, especially if you have a all-in-one
project, you just want to have a couple wires coming out of it, then this case is like inexpensive and easy for
Yeah.
any of your Pico projects.
And we'll keep doing this. People really like these. They're using them low cost, so we're doing it.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one, I put these in the beginning, and I'm going to do this before I show the rest of it because this is what it looks like
Off.
And then we have a whole bunch of in-action ones with all the different colors. So
Yes.
Ladyada, what are these?
These are nudes. These are noodles of light. They are made with dozens of tiny little LEDs on a flex PCB and then encoded in silicone. So they kind of create like a soft noodle that glows with light. And it's like almost a 360-degree light source. There's a little bit dimmer on the back because the LEDs shine through the back, but they're not, there's a little bit of PCB in the way. But they're kind of the closest to what you want EL wire to be. And we've stocked these before, but the connectors were on opposite ends. So you have to power them like a strand with like positive on one end and negative on the other. These are single-ended nudes. So if you look, on one end is 2 contacts and one has a little dot on it. That's the positive. You provide 3 volts across these 2 pads and the whole thing will glow. And what's nice is you don't have to have any wires on the end. So it's maybe easier for some projects where you want to have it dangling or you don't want to have a wire coming out for whatever reason. I have a demo I can do. They basically act like a really big LED. And so you can PWM them. You can turn them on and off very easily. Unlike EL, they're not annoying to control or power.
We've spaghettyified your LEDs.
Yeah, so if you go to the overhead, let's see how the overhead does here. Okay. So this is
That looks nice.
This is like the warm white, and I'm just PWMing it. And so you can see you can PWM it. There is a little bit, especially when it's dimmer, you can see the back. There's a little bit of, you can see the PCB a little bit. But otherwise, it's, nice and flexible. You can tie it into knots. You can glue it. You can tape it. You just have to provide that power. I'm just PWMing it from a GPIO pin. If you want, you can power it directly from 3 volts. Don't forget to add a resistor because there's a lot of LEDs that will heat up very fast, but it gets quite bright. I mean, these are actually used for like fake incandescent lamps. Like they're called like Edison lamps. But I like PWMing them. We have a couple projects with these nudes, but now, of course, they're easier than ever to use. And people have asked for single-ended, so we have them in multiple colors. This is the warm white, but then we also have them in
What do you want me to show next?
Yeah, blue.
Oh, all the different colors, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a cool blue color, red. This next one is cool white, so it's like a bluish white. It's like a daylight white. Green. I think this next one is warm white, and then light blue, and then just kind of like you get aqua tron blue, and then this is natural white. So there's like, the warm white is like 200K. This is like 354,000K, and then the other one is 6,000K. And then pink. We also have pink as well.
Could you put one of these in port acrylic? I think so.
I don't see why not. I mean, I would of course test it, especially if you're going to do cast acrylic. But yeah, I think you should be able to cast it and then power it from the end.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we didn't just get these.
It's a good. That'd be a neat idea.
Yeah, try. I don't see why it wouldn't work.
Guess what? You'll be the first if you share it, and it's a really cool technique if you can pull it off. Okay, and then we have these other ones.
Okay, and then the next one is these short versions. These are like only an inch long, and they're flexible. What would they be good for? I don't know, but they're very cute. They're very small. They're incredibly bright. They're like a tiny light. I think for like wearables.
There's a lot of things you can do.
Fashion.
Yeah, and this is how you hook them up.
Cosplay. So they're all lit up, and you can see there's like kind of 360-degree light coming out.
I've seen there's 2 of them inside like a glass vial, and they're like, oh look, it's like an ambient light.
Yeah.
And they have it hooked up so you can plug it into like a car. A lot of people like put weird lights in their cars.
Yeah. This is something mine, but I think especially these tiny ones could be good for like little props. So we have pink,
yeah,
green,
it's kind of everything.
And cool white, red.
Yeah,
green,
you can power them very easily, so you can kind of put these anywhere.
Yeah, you just need 3 volts, and they look like a 50 milliamp LED. So they're like they're multiple LEDs.
Could you use like a coin cell or something like that?
You could use a coin cell. Do you want me to grab one and see what it? looks. And do live.
Yeah, go for it. I'll just yeah. I'm just curious because like you could
I didn't
make.
think of that.
Well, I always think of the thing you're not supposed to.
I
Yeah.
know. Let's.
So Lady is gonna go over and get.
Okay, I got a coin cell.
Yeah, we actually had one right here. I don't think this is gonna disrupt the
Okay.
show at all.
I mean, this might.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Cause the sunspot.
No, might not.
Okay.
Might not.
So
It's
here's
gonna be okay.
I got some coin cell batteries.
It's gonna be okay.
Thanks to your battery holder
I have a battery holder now.
that you have.
Big boy, my
Your
big battery holder.
Big battery holder. Okay, so what's going on here?
Yeah.
Hold on. The hardest part is getting the bat. It's like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is
Chopper.
enclosed in a way. And it's okay.
Okay.
Ah,
All right. Okay.
coin battery.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Okay, it's live. So one of these is
Well, those are the longer ones.
yeah, why not?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this is the positive and this is the negative. So I've got this one. It's really hard to see the
Oh, touch around. Nope.
no.
Nope.
But also,
Why wouldn't it work? Maybe it doesn't have enough current.
Yeah, let me see the shorter ones. I didn't think I have not done this familiar. It is, drawing a lot of current, but
Yeah.
let's see. I also don't know if these coin cells are good, by the way.
All sorts of things. Well, someone else can test, but I just thought of it now, and
Yeah.
now it's your problem.
It doesn't work, but let me, you know what? I don't know why. And also, like I said, I don't know if these coin batteries are good. They've been sitting there for a while.
Good to know.
We'll find out and we'll do a video.
Questions.
I'm not afraid to test stuff out.
No, I'm saying the question is, can this go in acrylic and can it go in a coin cell?
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
I've been testing it with just, a board that gives you,
Yeah.
a clean 3 volts. So let me light this one up. I'm not afraid of doing demos.
Yeah, afraid. Okay.
But these do, they do draw a lot of current. They draw like,
That's probably what it is.
50 milliamps. So yeah, I don't know. I think
Maybe we'll stack them. I don't know.
maybe a 6-volt with a resistor. Anyways,
Anyhow.
here you go. So this is the warm white. So yeah, very bright.
Yeah.
And those are the new nudes. We'll have some more lengths as well, and maybe a couple more colors.
There's a lot, and then there's these other ones, the flexible ones. Yeah, like GE sells a bulb with like 2 of these inside of it, and they're like, "Look, it's an Edison bulb." It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It looks like it, but it's not. Okay. Next up, the star of the show, besides you, Ladyada, our customers, our team, and all celestial objects that are hopefully not going to collide into the Earth, is these DACs.
Yes, we've got 2 DACs. Basically, we don't have a lot of I2S DACs, and I've been doing more I2S projects. Digital audio is really great. We have a lot of chips that can do digital audio, like the RP2040, 2350, ESP32, 751, the Nordic chips. And we have a cute little I2S amplifier, but we didn't have one that did line out. So we got a request to get more of these in the shop. And so we picked the first ones, these are fairly popular, the PCM 5102 and 5100. They're pin compatible. One is just slightly higher quality and a little bit more expensive. Both are very fine. What's nice about these is you get line level out, 2 volt peak to peak max, and you don't need an M clock pin. You just need bit clock, data, and left right word select clock, which means it works great with like Raspberry Pi, single board computers, Raspberry Pi, ESP32. Look, a lot of boards that don't necessarily have M clock out, you don't need it. It will automatically generate it. It kind of just magically works with any I2S signal. You don't have to worry about 16-bit, 24-bit configuration, I2C. You just power it and you're ready to go. So I have a little demo, which hopefully will work. To be honest, I did not. Oh.
Is it gonna work?
I don't know. Oh yeah, here you go. So this is just some speakers, and I have these, they take a line in, they're powered speakers, and they're connected to the DAC here that's wired to an RP2350, and I just have CircuitPython playing some audio clip. This is from Dan Q's music that he does for the show.
This is some music.
And the quality is really good. It's really nice and clean. I'm going to unplug it. Again, line level out. You will not get headphone output from this. That's just, I put a big warning on the back. If you do want headphone output, we're working on a different DAC that has specifically, 16 ohm, 32 ohm drivers. But this, as long as you're powering it into like a stereo, powered speakers, monitors that are separately powered that have 1K or less, 1K or higher resistance, so high impedance, should be good. And there's also some other inputs if you want. There's a mute pin format if you want left justified. M clock if you do want M clock, de-emphasis, and filter. But honestly, the defaults sound really good. Easy to use. Like I said, no I2C configuration, no M clock needed. Lower cost one is the PCM 5100. That's, I think, a signal noise ratio of 100 dB. The 5102, it's like $1 more and gives you 112 dB signal noise ratio.
All right. Before we end new products, is this one of the ones that you had to spend a huge amount of time figuring out and lots of code and lots of just like?
No, this one was actually trivial.
These were easy.
Yeah, this one is not the TLV DAC is the one that has an I2C configuration.
Okay.
It's a lot more capable, has a lot more capabilities. This one doesn't do filtering. It doesn't do like
Gotcha.
headphone or speaker. It's very simple, but it also makes it very inexpensive and easy.
Gotcha. Okay.
Trade-offs.
Yeah. Because Ladyada is working on some DAC stuff, and it's gruesome because there's no documentation. No one knows in the TI forums or the engineers. So just like,
This one was easy. This
one's easier.
This is Web A. It's
Okay,
okay.
cool.
It worked out of the box, and actually my layout was good out of the box too. As I just followed the data sheet.
Good work.
They had good suggestions, but it's a very good DAC as well.
Okay. All right. See, we're out on our moon journey now. Yeah. So, like I said, we're going to try to end the show a little bit earlier. So we have your questions that you've sent us throughout the week. We have the questions that were in the chat. Let's do some top secret. First up.
I actually designed this board a while ago, and it kind of got lost in a couple moves. But this is a split boost supply, which will give you plus or minus like 12 volts, which is kind of cool from a 5-volt input. Great for like analog projects or whenever you need a reference voltage. I needed it for an Apple II disk supply. I need a little revision. I should be good this time around. Ditto, this is the complicated DAC. I learned a lot. So I made a bunch of fixes to reduce the noise, improve the grounding, bring out the bias and mic pin. I think the Rev B should be the best. And then we're using this sensor in a secret project that we can't talk about yet, but we will. And I wanted to check out this IMU chip, so I made a little breakout for it. And finally, a lot of people really love this. This is a little compute module backpack that Timon designed for us for the compute module 4 or 5. And we're going to hopefully get it out the door soon. This web looks good. It's got a lot going. I mean, everyone's like, add Ethernet, add moisturizer, add DVI, more DVI.
Yes.
It's just like, look,
Dispenses moisturizer. Okay.
we gotta like decide. So this is kind of the decision of what we wanted it to do. It's not everything, but it's a great start. 4-layer board. That's a prototype's gonna take a while.
That's top secret.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go right to questions.
Good question. I'm trying to figure out if I can maybe
Yeah, maybe
a connector for this.
Alrighty, we're gonna read your questions. Here we go.
Okay.
Ladyada, can I use a large board with 24-volt WLEDs? They're talking about.
Yes, you can. You can either give it 24 volts or you can use USB PD and do 20 volts, which I found works just fine.
Next up, where do I get 12-volt NeoPixels?
We had a couple of things in the shop that are 12 volt, especially like big chunky displays, the cafe lights. Those are 12 volts.
Okay. Next up, I can't find any encoder to buy with a clear shaft. What's the point of the NeoPixel under the encoder when I can't buy compatible transparent encoder?
I think you can get one from Mauser. They have a clear encoder shaft that should just work.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next up,
This
Um,
does work, by the way. It was just I couldn't make good contact. with my fingers.
Oh, okay. Wait. Let's go to the overhead. Breaking news. Breaking news.
Okay.
We're going live onto the scene.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to hold this, and it's just hard to hold.
Okay,
it.
so
the reason
so you could make throwies out of these.
you can make little throws.
Uh,
The reason it didn't work is that these FPCs, I wasn't pressing them hard enough, so I was like,
Oh.
I'll just use this cable.
Okay, so 3 volts works fine.
So yeah, let's
3
try
volts.
that. Let's try the longer one.
Okay.
I should have thought of that, but you do it live. Okay, so this is the longer nude. You clip on, and then I'm going to. I always forget positive is not what I think it is. Yeah, that works too.
Okay, great. Good to
Yeah.
know. Okay, good news, everybody.
Yeah, you can use coin cells.
Cool. Don't know about the acrylic yet. Got to work on that.
Yeah.
Got to try that. I got to get my acrylic mold.
Coin cells.
Okay. Next up, does it play the audio? This is for the NES Net emulator for the RP2040.
Yeah, I believe it does. I think he didn't have it set up, but I think it does do audio.
Okay. Next up, could you update the Adafruit Feather RP2040 with USB Type A host to use RP2350 from the Pico 2? I think that would sell really well. And make a pink limited edition one also.
I don't know if I can make it pink. Pink PCBs have a lot of side effects in price and availability. But yeah, we're probably going to do all of the RP2040 feathers we have. We'll make versions with the 2350. We're just waiting for the availability of the chips, but they're not technically available yet.
Okay. Oh, just one quick detour here. Do the nudes need any LED drivers?
I mean, not any more than any other LED. I mean, if you want to use LED driver because you want to do constant current or PWM, but
Does this need an LED driver to do this?
no, you can this is just 3 volts, and you can also power it from, if you want to give it 50 milliamps, you want something that can provide it. But if you have Arduino compatible, it can do 20 milliamps from a pin. You just need a resistor.
All right. Next up, we need better RP2350 HSTX demos. RP2040 can do it.
Well, some demos that we've done so far, the 2040 can do, but we're working on making more cool HSTX demos. But it's been a journey.
Okay.
A lot, but we're getting there.
Okay. Next up, Microchip has a new 8-bit microcontroller with hardware USB support. It's AVR EU series, the biggest being the AVR 64DU32. It seems a bit similar, uses the old 8 mega 32U4. What does Adafruit look for before considering a new chip?
Yeah, I think what happened is, that mega 32U4, I bet, was using an old process, and like maybe it was an expensive process. Also a very expensive chip, to be honest. We still use it, we still sell a lot of that mega 32U4 stuff. Whether we would use this chip, I mean, we don't use a lot of 8-bit chips anymore, although we did a couple RISC-V 8-bit chips for fun. The issue is that to use these, we're never going to be able to port CircuitPython to them because they're 8 bits and they don't have enough RAM, which means that the only way to program them would be either with Arduino IDE or with like CMake files. And I'm not going to do the Arduino port. I don't know if an LLM could do an Arduino port. I think that'd be really interesting for somebody to try out. I think that'd be kind of cool. But I'm not doing an Arduino port. So if somebody else wants to do it, I would consider it, but we're booked.
Are we still on the lookout for a RISC chip that does USB? Because I think there isn't.
The 2350 basically does. I mean, it's like they figured out they're like, it's a RISC-V.
That's
dual core.
Just that one.
Yeah.
Okay,
so it's good enough.
There's no other ones out there. This isn't.
There's no other well-documented, low-cost microcontroller RISC-V chips.
Okay.
Yeah, this is it.
Okay. Next up, is this just standard ASCII characters? Can it do extended ASCII with all the funky lines and shape, or allow per character background color change, even if a fixed second color? Then you could use this to put together a pretty nice interface without needing to go with a full GUI for input.
I think Jepler did get multiple shades of color for both foreground and background. So I think it's like 3 shades of each of the 8 colors.
So you could do
except for black, and then
like a terminal.
And then we don't have extended ASCII, like those cool lines that you see in like DOS programs. But I think that's mostly just because the font was just 8 bits, and then I guess 1 bit was color. I don't know exactly, but it doesn't, but it could.
Okay. Next, random question, but I'm looking to try to monitor the water level in my sump pump. Well, I'm getting mixed messages online as what the ideal sensor would be, a water pressure sensor, ultrasonic distance sensor. Do you have any recommendations for what direction to go? Thanks in advance.
Okay, so there's no ideal, right? That's the issue. It's like there's going to be trade-offs with any sensor. So the one I think about a water pressure sensor, if you do it through like a tube, is that you are separating the sensor. The electronics isn't exposed to the liquid, which should let it last longer. Ultrasonics, on the other hand, it's like it might work good enough for you.
So you would have it to see what the water level
What the
is.
level is.
Okay.
I would get something going just so you can like explore, and then expect that you'll have to change the sensor later, but at least you'll get something going, because it really depends a lot about your humidity, how tall your pump is, the environment, how much you're willing to spend. There's a lot of different ways to do a water level measurements, and there's a
Yeah.
big trade-off between durability and cost and ease of use. So there's no ideal.
Yeah. I use the so I've got a couple things going on. I have a water pressure sensor. Insurance company, somebody had one of those.
Yeah.
And I got a Yo-Link for detecting water that I really like.
Bricks, yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tell you my answer. I've learned that you have to have a backup for every sensor. I know it's weird and silly, maybe for some, but I've run into the problem where if I don't have,
You have a sensor.
I have a sensor. If I don't have two, when you need it the most, something goes wrong. So I would say, why not both? Use Adafruit IO and throw both in there, and then just get an alert if either one of them changes.
Yeah.
Then eventually you can have them compare each other.
Like you may not be able to use pressure because the pressure may vary. Ambient pressure may affect the humidity. You have no idea. You just gotta like try it.
I'll do both.
Yeah.
And then in the chat, automotive uses float sensors for fuel tanks. Could do with a 12-volt automotive float and then adapt it.
Yeah, you can use float. Float sensors are good, but they won't give you the depth. They will just tell you
Just tell you if it's floating.
above or below.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'll go back to this in a sec because we're going to do the last question here. Okay. For next week, is there a reason, maybe cost? I don't know, the desire for minimum cost for not using the Max 34.2 IE for USB host on the Fruit Jam, as it wouldn't free up the PIO for more things?
It was mostly a cost thing. That chip is like not cheap. It's $3, and that's kind of like doubles the cost of the components. And I thought it would be kind of neat to see if we could, like, technically we should be able to use PIO because, you know, the HSTX doesn't use a PIO. So you have one PIO for USB, and then one state machine for USB, and then you have two more on the RP2350. Like you have as many as you would have had on the RP2040. You could use one for NeoPixel and then one for I2S, or you could do BitBang for NeoPixel and then something else. I think it's possible. If I absolutely have to, I'll go with the Max 34 chip, but PIO USB is pretty solid. Usually, I think we can get it working.
Okay, and then next up, the LED square pixel matrix with I2C backpack. You know, will be back in stock.
I know that there's no reason. I mean, there's nothing stopping it. I think we're just waiting for LEDs to come in. The LED matrices, they might have long lead time.
And do you know if DigiKey has the updated version with Quick, or is it the previous version? Anyway, itself, they only have one photo. You know what? DigiKey has really good customer support.
Or you should ask them.
Yeah, you could call or email or use their web form. Find out how, because they track things too. You can ask them when it was stocked, and if it's the most recent as well.
Yeah,
they generally sell out of everything. If they have it in stock, it's usually the most recent.
Probably the most recent. We do notify them when we sent them a revision.
Yeah.
How other companies do revision processes is not something that we track.
It's pretty rare for DigiKey to be selling and stocking an older version of something. They usually get stuff right away.
Yeah.
Next up, how much of a voltage range can the LED filament run on? Would 3.6 volts be too much? They want to know if they can use 3 rechargeable triple.
You can use any batteries, but read our guide on how to pick resistors to make sure that the current going through it is not more than 50 milliamps. The voltage doesn't matter, but you'll need a resistor, and it's called like a choke resistor. and it will set the brightness. So you could power it from 12 volts, but you need a bigger resistor, and you need to pick that right resistor or you're going to melt it.
Yeah. Mike has a thing that says, somewhere I recently saw a quote regarding redundant sensors, and the quote was basically you should have either 1 or 3. With 2, you don't know which one to trust.
I know, it's like a right. It's like if you have 1 clock, you know what time it is. If you have 2 clocks, you don't.
Yeah, there was some, like, I don't know if it was Deep Space Nine or Star Trek Next Generation or like some like random comment from like Miles O'Brien last second. It was like, yeah, Federation Engineering, they have backup, 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 backup. So it just reminds me of that. Yeah, there are a few things around our household that I have 3 things. So if it all goes, at least I said I tried. Like I like after 3 failures of backups and stuff like that, you know what? Wasn't meant to be, whatever it was. Okay, next up, is the Sparkle Motions out, or do you need to wait for fixes?
I think they're out of stock right now. You're gonna have to wait because I canceled the reorder because we were having, like I said, yield issues. When they're back in stock, they should be good, but I really want to improve them.
Yeah. Okay. I think that is it. Yeah, everyone's sharing stories. Yeah, I think redundant sensors, just in my experience lately, like you in the beginning of this show, right? The mouse wasn't moving, and I'm like, man, because we had moved not too long ago. I'm like, you know what? Next to my old setup for Ask an Engineer, I had 2 backup mice.
You did used to have 2 backup.
I had 2 backup mice.
Remember, like the keyboard.
Another, yeah, like mid show. So I always have a keyboard. I always have another mouse, and then I have like a trackpad, and then I have a wired mouse, because it's like, well, if all else fails, I could just plug in this mouse instead of having, these like wired ones.
Yeah.
And the batteries are always topped off. Doesn't matter, but like this is the one time, so of course,
Okay. You said it was some cables.
Someone on YouTube asked about the NeoPixel 8 on the RP2350.
Here. RP2350.
Typical 16 ring for the RT lamp project. I love it. I love it. It could be brighter. Is there any similar with higher voltage?
Those are pretty bright. We have 3-watt NeoPixel LEDs that aren't rings though. Those LEDs are the brightest NeoPixels you can get without having separate LEDs.
All right. Discussion between Barkley and O'Brien about Barkley's phobia about transporters. Wow, deep cut. That's exactly where it's from. He's like, yeah, that's what it's from. The transporters have redundant. And by the way,
and yet they still.
By the way, the transporters,
evil Riker.
Transporters are one of my. I love that they're so safe, but most episodes are about like a major screw up with
holodeck, right?
Yeah, it's like we clearly like these things don't work well.
The holodeck became sick.
They're like, these are safe. They've been tested for 1 million hours. There's never been any problems. But every episode is like, man, there's problems.
Holodeck got horny.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. They got taken over again.
Yeah.
Holograms became sentient. Anyways. So them's our questions for the week this week.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, so that's our show. We got about 10 minutes earlier.
Okay.
We got to see everybody.
2 minutes over.
Oh, this is the end of Firefly. Yeah, that's it. Firefly. Yeah, that was it. That was the name of it. Okay. It's a little swimmy creature in the background. That's our show. We'll see everybody next week. And oh man, more deep at Tuvix is a great episode. You know what? That was a really good episode because Janeway just like puts the bullet in this guy. Shouldn't have done that. Lots of controversy. So there was so Neelix and Tuvok get merged.
The 2 most annoying characters.
Your opinion. And then
I've never watched the show.
Yeah. And then it becomes another sentient being. In the end, we're like, we don't care. We're going to pull you apart. You're dead. And he's like, I don't like this at all. And like, yeah, no one stood up for him.
That's a good question.
I actually thought that episode was a little dark. I'm just like, whoa, they went in a different direction than I thought. Anyways,
I thought that the weird, like, was it the lizard people was the like creepiest one when they had lizard babies?
Oh, when Janeway, yeah, the Warp 10 one, yeah.
Like you said,
where are they now?
Yeah.
Where are these lizard babies
Yeah,
that she had with Paris? Where are they? Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I gotta get out of here. That's our show.
Time to leave.
This has been Adafruit production, everybody.
Bye.
We'll see everybody next week. Here's your moment of Zener.
Have a great week.